for today's video, I'm going to be showing you girls how to change a tire with my new Rabaconda tire changing system. I'll be using an old dirt bike wheel and an old dirt bike tire because I did not need to change my tire at the time, but I wanted to show you guys how to do it anyway. See, this guy's seen some miles. So Colin's gonna be my little photographer today. Oh, that's so cute. He's gonna take some Instagram pictures of me assembling it, so that's what the clicking is in the background. But we'll start out with, babe. We'll start out with assembling the whole shebang here.
Assembly.
Assembly. Okay, so when assembling this, you want to look at the bottom here and select on each limb what size you're...
17, 18, 19, 21, boom.
And we're 19, so my wheel is 19 inches, so that's what you're going to select. If you do it in the front, it'll most likely be a 21 incher. That was backwards. That was backwards. Okay. Gotta fuck with it a little bit. 19.
Oh.
There we go.
And then clamp it down.
Clamp it down, yeah.
Clamp her down.
Clamp it.
Boom. So
See
now
that? She's almost ready.
Now what? You've got all three of these. Are all three of these set up at 19?
Yes.
So each one of them says
19.
19 inches on it. And you can just adjust it depending on the size of the tire, whether it's a front or a rear.
Yes.
That's fucking cool.
I know.
Hell yeah.
So the assembly for this is honestly super easy to figure out, and then when you're ready to disassemble and repackage it, there's a tag in there that shows you how to stack it up so you can pack it back efficiently. It's been super helpful. Okay, we're going to be switching to GoPro Chesty for a duration of this video. So we use Simple Green instead of tire lube. Simple Green's alcohol based, so it's going to evaporate faster than the tire lube, thus not leaving your tire all greasy. Grease. First things first, when removing your tire, is make sure you get most of the air out of the tube. Next, we'll start to break the bead around the tire. So using the arm of the Rabaconda, we'll do a full 360 around the tire. Next, you'll want to spray that tire with some Simple Green or whatever you're using to lube it up. I totally forgot to do it right there. To start the removal process, you'll start off with 2 irons. The first one you'll pop over and leave it in. Don't take it out. Then you'll get that 3rd iron and start working 2 and 3 around, making sure number 1 stays in the entire time. And to ensure it stays in, you can actually hook it under your rotor or sprocket, but I just don't have one on this tire. Here I am, my dumbass, because I forgot to lube it before. The first bite is definitely the hardest, but a little tip, the smaller bites, the easier it is. The bigger bites, the harder it is. But then again, if you go too small, that can also make it challenging too, so just be aware of that. And as it gets easier, if you'd like, you can just go down to 1 tire iron. As you can see, I did that here. Once the entire bead is off, we'll remove our tube, starting with the valve stem. After you've located it, remove that lock nut on there. Set that nut aside and then lift up the tire, remove that valve stem, and then remove your tube. Next, we'll flip our tire on over so we can start removing the bead on the other side. Oops, I fucked up right there a little bit, dropped something. To start the brake, I'll use 1 tire iron and then proceed to break the rest with the arm of the Rabaconda system. Gives you nice, good leverage. And then just like that, we're done. Woohoo! Jumping right into the install here, we are going to lube the shit out of the tire on the side that is facing your rim. Then we'll slide part of the tire onto the rim. It should be quite simple. Grabbing a tire iron, you'll proceed to install the inner bead onto the rim, leaving in one at a time as you make your way around the wheel. It will get a bit harder as you complete the 360, so towards the end I'll use the little useful tire iron hook on the Rabaconda to hold my iron stationary in place while working the last bit of the bead over. So we don't have a bead lock for this old wheel, but at this point you would make sure your bead lock is in the wheel, and then you'd slide your tire up under that side of the bead lock. Next, you'll put your tube in, starting with the valve stem. A little tip, if you put a little bit of air into your tube, it helps make it easier to stuff in without it being all flimsy and like getting a pinch. So for me, when getting this little stem back into the hole in the rim, it's all about the angles, baby. I had to switch to the other side just to kind of see what I was doing and really work it through. Then once it's in, you'll put your little valve lock back on. Typically, this is where you would start your install of the bead on the bead lock side, but I don't have one, so I can't show you that. Once your bead lock is set, you'll want to go to town with the lube. So this will be pretty similar to the removal. So you'll start off with 2 irons, and then the first one you pop over, you leave it in, don't take it out, then you'll get a 3rd iron and start working 2 and 3 around, making sure 1 stays in the entire time. I like to leave number 1 in the Rabaconda tire iron hook. That thing is so freaking useful. Wait to pop the bead over until you have both number 2 and number 3 in. And then once that bite has been popped over, remove number 2 and repeat this process all the way around the wheel. So like I said before, it'll start to get harder towards the end. And being the small fry that I am, I've found that I have to get into some weird positions to get some leverage for myself. And I'm telling you, that last bite is the freaking hardest. So I'll use my Rabaconda to help me pop in the last part of the bead. More leverage, baby. Now, if I had a bead lock, this would be the part where I would tighten it down, pump my tire up to 30 psi, and bounce it, or maybe use a rubber mallet to pop it over. But I mean, typically, if you pump it up to 30 psi, that expands the rubber enough to get the bead set over the rim. The reason I decided to get myself a Rabaconda is because I'm a little lady and sometimes changing a tire can be hard. And with this system, it gave me a lot more leverage and made me able to do it by myself. So I don't need my boyfriend when I'm out with the girls. So if I can do it, you can do it. I would recommend trying one out, getting one for yourself. It does make for a good addition to the garage. Thanks again for watching another one of my YouTube videos, and I'll see you guys again in the future.